Hello, world of YouTube, and welcome to a vinyl collection update. It's been a while since we've added to my vinyl collection, but let me tell you, we got a beefy one today. I've been doing a lot of vinyl collecting over the last couple of months. Really the last month. Most of this I've been doing for the last month or so. Because I bought a couple of special edition re-releases and just stuff that was really piquing my interest. And, well, I have a vinyl collection segment, so let's get to updating the collection. Now, I'm going to kind of split it up both in chronological order, kind of, and by the location that I bought it from. There's a lot of places I went to, both that you would go to for records and that you wouldn't necessarily go to for records. But I was there for a certain reason. I saw a record there. I was like, sure, I'll buy it. Why not? Case in point, Amy Winehouse is Back to Black. I really like this record. I think Amy Winehouse is a talented-ass singer, and I think that contributions from dudes like Mark Ronson on here kick a lot of ass. And I got this at Target, and it has like a pink pressing. Again, Target's not necessarily the place you would go to for vinyl records, but I saw it there. It wasn't that expensive. I really like this record. I've never talked about Amy Winehouse, but I think she was a very talented lady. And she had a very good voice. And there's a lot of songs on here that I really enjoy. And in fact, this pressing has a song with Ghostface on it, which is kind of cool. That I actually don't think I've ever heard before. But, yeah, I like this album well enough. And I felt the need to add it to my collection. To just have a good old time. Now, the next three I got at my favorite local joint. My favorite place I like to go to. I've talked about it before. Vinyl Rescue Project. If you're ever in Indiana and you want a good, low-key record store to go to, they're a good place to go. The guy that runs it is a really nice dude. He always has something spinning. He's got a good atmosphere. I like taking people there when they come to town that like records. And I bought a few records there. First up, one of my favorite albums of all time, Odelay. This record's fucking amazing. You guys already know. I've talked about it on my Beck discography review. But yeah. I've now own it on vinyl, one of 3 formats that I own it on. It's a repressing. It's a repressing of it, a 2016 repressing of it. But it's got all the bells and whistles. It's got its inserts. It's got all the good stuff. You know, it's Odelay and in all of its riches. You know. The weirder of the 3 records, I think, to some people maybe that I picked up was Solange's "When I Get Home." I really liked this record when it came out. I still spin it a lot more than other records that came out the last year that it came out. But I fucking love the sounds of this record. I really praised it on the channel. I gave it an 8. I really love Solange's voice on it. I love how she took the trajectory that A Seat at the Table put her in and decided to make a more Houston sound-centric project. As far as like focusing on things like chopped and screwed culture and stuff and infusing it with her soulful voice. And I like this thing. And I'm really happy to hear it on a nice pair of speakers. Like I'm really excited to sit down, put this on at some point, and just listen to the lushness in the instrumentals kind of wash over me. And I feel like this is a great vibe record. It's a really good record to just sit down and vibe to. Similarly to like the Gambino project that I bought, you know, it's got a real aesthetic sound to it that I'm excited to put on. I think that this will be a fun thing to listen to. I bought it because I think it'll be good to hear in context of the format that I bought it in, you know. And plus, it's a record that I feel like would just be a good thing to sit down with in a session. I don't know. I feel like a lot of people slept on this record when it came out, and I still like throwing it to people that like soulful stuff, and so there you go. And lastly, another record that I really love from a band that I've already talked about to death, In Rainbows. Because what record collector doesn't have this in their collection if they like this band? You know? It's a cut the bullshit. It's just In Rainbows. It's just an original pressing of In Rainbows. It's got everything you could ever want from In Rainbows. I've talked about this record in my Radiohead discography review. It's not my favorite record, but it's, again, the one I revisit the most in their catalog. And I could see myself just throwing this on for the vibe, you know? It's a classic. This is a fucking classic record. So of course I bought it and put it in the collection. The next two I got at my half-price books. The same day that I bought those comics that I added in my comic haul last month. I bought a couple records at the same day. Neither of which, again, makes sense. This collection's going to be all over the place this update. Got some Amy Winehouse. Got some Solange. Got some Beck and Radiohead. Got some Hall and fucking Oates. They had Private Eyes. And I was like, hell yeah, dude. I love this record. I like Hall and Oates. I think Hall and Oates are a tight-ass duo. I almost saw them live when they were here. Like, I was really geeked to see them live. I like this group. I think they write some catchy tunes. I think they have some tight-ass records. And I don't know if this is my favorite record. They had a couple of Hall & Oates records. But I bought this one because it's the one that I felt like I would enjoy the most to have on vinyl. So I scooped it up. And in the same breath, I bought The Pleasure Principle by Gary Numan. Again, I like Gary Numan. I really like what he did for synth music. And I like how he inspired some of the dudes that I really like Trent Reznor. And this is the album with Cars on it. But it also has other stuff on here like Metal, which I think Nine Inch Nails has covered. So there's other songs on here that I'm definitely relatively familiar with. But I do like this record. I do like Gary Numan. And I like what he did for synth culture with this album. And I had to give it a scoop. I had to give it a scoop up. Both this and the Hall & Oates are in pretty good condition, it looks like. So I feel like I shouldn't have any issues with these. And it looks like they were kept pretty well. You know, this one still has a nice insert to it. There was some newer stuff that they had at the half-price books that I almost got, and I still might if I ever go back one day to, like, just carouse if they have them. But I saw those. I had to get them. You know, I've been on the prowl for a couple of records in the wild, and those weren't it. But I felt like those were nice additions. Now, the next record I got from a store on the north side of Indy called The Exchange. It's a place that I go to get games primarily, but they do sell albums on vinyl. They sell a slew of CDs. They even have a Laserdisc. They have a lot of things in various formats. And they had one of my favorite prog albums there at a decent price. In the Court of the Crimson King. It's a repressing of it, but this is one of my favorite prog albums of all time. I really enjoy this record, and I had to get it. You know, it's the only time. Well, it's funny because I almost bought it in Virginia when I was there, because I told you I went to my favorite local record store. If you got the comic haul last month, and I just realized I haven't actually opened this. But I'm glad I didn't pick this up in Virginia, because while I could justify having two copies of the same comic book, I don't know if I could do the same with vinyl, even if it is one of my favorite albums of all time. If it's an album that I have, like, displayed in my house, I can justify having a second copy of it. But, like, yeah. I fucking love this record, dude. This record's a fucking classic. It is so good. It's a repressing on thicker vinyl. It's a thick boy, but it looks really good. It looks really good. It's got a nice little catalog to its sleeve. The inside looks great. It's a clean ass album. If you haven't listened to this record, give it a listen. It's so good. I love this project a lot. It's not the only good King Crimson record, but it's my favorite. Maybe by a decent margin. It's the only one on my albums. It's the only one on my albums of all time list. But I binged it a lot in like 2015. That was like the soundtrack my life to some degree during that time. And yeah, it's a good record. It's a good ass record. Now, the one record I was waiting to get in the mail to do this. Well, there were two, but I got scammed out of money on Discogs for one, and that's a story for a completely other day. Fuck that guy. If you're watching this, if you find this, fuck you, man. That wasn't cool to con me out of $20 through Discogs of all places, and just to be a con man on there. You're a shitty fucking person. But the one record I did order it's from the source itself. I'm wearing this shirt. They came at the same time because I ordered them together. The repressing, the remaster, re-release of Aesop Rock's Float, baby! Again, I talked about this in my Aesop Rock discography review, and Ace announced that he was doing a re-release of it on different color presentation. There was like blue, green, and I think yellow. Red wasn't one of them, I don't think. And I had to get green. You know, I had to do it to him. I like green. Green's my favorite color. And I will say it looks really clean in green. You know, it's got a really cool sort of big ass insert that has the lyrics to the songs with some old ass pics of Ace Rock and friends. I really enjoy it. I really enjoy the whole presentation of this. It just looks really clean. Not my favorite Aesop rock record, but it's my second favorite one, so, you know. But it's on like a green pressing, too. It's not too dissimilar from my Deftones Saturday Night Wrist vinyl with like a green pressing. This one's a little more boldly green. But yeah. And lastly, like I said, when I was in Virginia, we went to my favorite comic book store and my favorite record store, which is Earfood. Earfood Records. I have talked about them in my vinyl update before. I bought some records from them. This is a pen with their information on it, and they have bumper stickers. I have one on the nightstand right here. But, yeah, I love Earfood. It's a local business run by a father and a son. They're both great people. Again, if you're in the Winchester area, they're like right next door to Four Color Fantasy. They're a great storefront. They have so much going on in their store, and they sell more than just vinyl. They sell all formats. They have gear. They have guitars for sale and mixing boards. They're just a music store in general, but they have a lot of vinyl. And again, really not terrible prices. I enjoy shopping there. I've spent a lot of my money there before I moved, and I only wanted to swing on by because I was in town, and I bought 2 records and one at a Cracker Barrel on the drive back that I'll talk about when I get to it. But I bought 2 records while I was there. One of their more pricier pieces, Kraftwerk's Autobahn. Again, synth classic Autobahn. I love this record. I listened to it on the drive back because it's one of those great driving records. It has this propulsion to it that just fits driving long distances. You just have fun onto an Autobahn, you know? It's a great-ass classic record that a lot of synth fans obviously hold to a high regard. They also had Trans-Europe Express, which I almost bought, but I was like, Autobahn, I had to get Autobahn. And then another synth record that I bought, Human League's Dare, the record with Don't You Want Me on it, which again, classic song, but also classic record in its own regard. I like the Human League. I've heard a couple of their other records that aren't this as well, and I like their sounds. I think they have a really good use of synthetics, and I really love their vocals. I love their production in general. It's very 80s in the right way, but I had to grab this. I had to grab it because it's a record that, again, kind of like Gary Numan, The Pleasure Principle, I wouldn't say it's one of my favorites, but I love for what it did for synth music, and I love the impact some of the songs on here had. Great group, great record, had to grab it. Now on the drive back, me and Rachel stopped at a Cracker Barrel to use the bathroom, and while we were there, Rachel was like, we should probably buy something for coming here. You know, I don't normally go to Cracker Barrel. It's not my favorite eating establishment. But while we were there, we were looking around. Rachel couldn't find anything within a price that she wanted to pay for stuff, and I saw they had records at like a pretty cheap price. So I was like, I don't know, I'll dig through there and see what they got. And they had Rumors, which is very poignant now because of the meme. But yeah, it was a classic fucking record. So, you know, of course I picked it up. Doesn't have my favorite Fleetwood Mac song on it, but it has the classics. It has Dreams. It has Go Your Own Way. You know, it has a plethora of other classic jams from this group. And it's an iconic record, Fleetwood Mac Rumors. So I picked it up for that reason. Again, it's a repressing, but it looks pretty good. It looks clean, like the inserts. I think they look good. And yeah, I love this record, so I don't regret buying this. Even if it was at a Cracker Barrel. And that was it. That was my vinyl update. Again, it was a meatier episode this month. Had a lot to add to the collection. but a lot of stuff that I like on all fronts, whether it's classic rock, synth music, hip-hop, soul, all that stuff thrown together into the collection. Some of my favorite records of all time I scooped up. It's a good haul, good collection update. A lot of stuff I'm happy to have in my collection now. What do you think of these records? Do any of these jump out at you? Let me know in those comments down below. If you like this particular video, be sure to give it a like. If you want to see more of my music, gaming, and general notary content, be sure to subscribe. Special thanks to my patrons if you would like to join their ranks to get early access to content, exclusive content, or to help drive the community. It's linked in the description. I'm going to get out of here, though. I have been Viral Rack. You guys have good days, lives, and situations, and I'll see you another day.